Today I hope to finish repairing Evan's Suzuki TS250. In the previous video we made about this bike, we fixed the non-working tail light and brake light, but didn't have time to work on the two other issues we talked about. A neutral light that wasn't lighting up, and Evan said the engine bogged at low RPM on acceleration. I already fixed the neutral light, but I'm not going to show you guys that entire process because I don't think it would be very entertaining. But we did film the repair and a quick overview of how I figured out what was wrong. If you recall, that story began by looking up.
Oh yeah. I didn't know those were that sturdy.
I don't know if they're that sturdy. So let's do this quickly.
Okay.
Here's what's going on with the neutral indicator light. The way this works is, whenever the key is on, the positive terminal of the bulb is energized. And the negative wire is only grounded out right here when the transmission is in neutral. The way it does that is there's a metal tab on the end of the shift drum. The shift drum rotates when gears are selected, and when the transmission's in neutral, this tab contacts the terminal on the inside of this housing, which is connected to the wire. Transmission's in neutral right now, but with this installed, the light is not illuminated. And I know the problem is the switch, because if I ground out this terminal to the engine, have another look at the tachometer.
Ooh.
Neutral light comes on. So I think the only problem here is this tab has been bent inwardly so much that it no longer contacts the terminal in the housing.
Why would that happen?
With time, things lose their springiness.
Huh. I wouldn't know.
I'll just very gently bring this out to about a right angle, reinstall, have a look at that gauge. Still off?
Yup. Try again.
Maybe a little more than a right angle is what it needs. We'll try that. Have another look.
Hooray!
We've got a neutral light. So I'll get this reassembled to make sure it works when it's put back together. Left side of the motor is reassembled. Let's see if the neutral light still works. So far so good. I'll take it up the gears and back down again just to make sure. That's a success.
Nice. Say, why'd you have the motorcycle leaned anyway?
So the oil wouldn't leak out when I took that little housing off.
No.
I'm glad it didn't come crashing down. That would have been awkward. We'd have to ask Evan to buy us a new garage door bracket. So now that the electrical system is fully functional, we can start working on the engine. Try to find that bog Evan was talking about. It's not a marsh or a swamp. It's a bog. I'll start it up, let it warm up for a few minutes, and then we'll take it for a road test. Wait, come on back here. They might want to see it start up.
Yeah, that's true.
Neutral light still comes on. It runs really good. Well, I'll just let that percolate for a minute and get my helmet put on.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think the first thing we should do is accelerate from a stop and see how it behaves. Just riding from my driveway to right here, I'm suspecting that it's running richer than it should be. Yeah. Hear how the exhaust is raspy? Sounds like it just got out of bed. That's too much fuel in the mix. Let's try to open it up a little more and see how it performs at the higher RPM now. Yeah, way too rich. When it's really pulling under load, it cleans up, but when you're just cruising, it doesn't run well at all. See right here? Exhaust sounds really rough, but when I shift a gear too high and try to accelerate up a hill, then it sounds a little bit better just because I'm putting a heavy load on the engine and it's using some of that extra gas. So my diagnosis is carburetor's running too rich across almost the entire RPM range, except idle. Still idles really nicely. By the way it runs in neutral, just standing still, you wouldn't expect that it would ride so terribly. I'll take it back to the garage, see if we can figure it out.
So how'd it run?
Well, Evan said that it had a little bog at low RPM. I say it just runs terrible in general.
Oh no.
If we get this running right, he's not going to recognize it. Much too rich. Either the carburetor is delivering too much fuel or not enough air. I'm hoping the problem could be as simple as a plugged up tailpipe. If the chimney can't chuff, it'll block up the whole system.
Ooh, that's never good.
Which isn't a carburetor problem, but will cause the engine to run richly. The only part of this exhaust pipe that could be clogged up is this inner baffle. Everything else is an open chamber. So we'll take this out and see how it looks. That's not our problem. The holes are all clean. Can't see through it. Don't know if I should see through it though. So this is a turbine type spark arrestor, which is why we can't see straight through it. It forces the exhaust gases to go around in a spiral before coming out the tailpipe. Looks really clean in there. I don't see any carbon deposits. So this is not our issue. Ahoy! Set a course for the carburetor. This is not a carburetor channel, but we find ourselves here often. I took this thing apart and found two problems that are causing the engine to run rich. First of all, the needle is in the second to richest position. So I'll move it a couple clicks to the second to leanest. The top position for the clip is leanest and the bottom is richest. Secondly, this O-ring is shrunken, shriveled, and doesn't seal on the inside of the float bowl here where it should. I'll try to explain how this works. Fuel goes into here from the float bowl, but it's metered through the main jet, which is on the end of this fancy bolt. So the only fuel that's meant to get into the engine is what goes down into this hole, past the main jet, and back up through here. If the seal between this brass pipe and the float bowl is faulty, gas can bypass the main jet and get right into this hole illegally, causing a very rich condition. I don't have a replacement O-ring for this, and in case any of you were skeptical, I can tell, and you can probably tell too, that the O-ring is bad by how loose the float bowl fits onto there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
No resistance. Oh dear. As I was saying, I looked through my O-rings, couldn't find a replacement for this, and I want to see if this is the problem today. So I'll take the original off, put another little O-ring onto the pipe, reinstall the old one on top of that, and see if it fits into the float bowl like it should, or close to how it should. And I'll try not to drop any parts in the process.
That was a great story. I think I have goosebumps.
All right, both O-rings are on the carburetor now. Looks quite fatter than it did before. I'll see how this fits on here now. Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Snug.
I'll put this back together, then we'll see how it runs. Got the carburetor back on the motorcycle. Haven't tried to start it yet. Let's see how it runs, if it runs. I noticed last time on cold start it didn't even need choke, which is a bad thing. Cold motor should need choke. So we'll try starting it off choke, and hopefully it doesn't start up and run really well. Make sense?
Yeah.
So far so good.
Yeah.
This is strange, not wanting it to start.
Maybe give it a little choke.
Give her a little choke. Take it off now. Get still.
You think it's better?
Maybe. Seems a little more anxious to rev up. I'll let it warm up, put on my helmet, go for a ride. Okay, I rode back over here to the same place we did our first test. I did not go over 25 miles an hour or 4,000 RPM the whole way, so we can experience this together. Here we go, take it through the gears. I think that's better. I think that's better. Never ridden one of these before though, so can't tell for sure. Yeah, it's better. For sure. It had to clear out a little bit. Sweeps up to 6 RPM cleanly. Looking at the speedometer, I can't tell if I'm doing 50 or 70. But I'm happy with that. I think Evan will be too. All right, we're back here with the man in black. I've already told him about everything that you guys have already seen, and I think he's happy with the electrical repairs we made.
Definitely.
But how about a test ride?
I think that would be the best course of action now.
Let's try that low RPM bog test, shall we? Nah, she seems to move out just fine. Oh, go figure. Go figure. All out of gas. These old two-strokes. They are a thirsty bunch, aren't they?
I tried to call you, man. I ran out of gas.
Oh
I completely ran out.
Well, how'd you get back?
A neighbor saw, she was like, hey, do you need to park it in the driveway for a moment? I'm like, no, I just need some gas. So she gave me a gas can. I was like, just enough to make it back. Just enough, and I think I got it on video too.
Well, before it ran out of gas, how was it?
Oh, like a dream.
Good.
She runs perfectly, better than the day I bought her, honestly.
Awesome. Well, thanks for entrusting her with us. Glad you're happy. Thanks for watching.